Okay, we're rolling.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you. I hope you're doing well. Nice to be with you again. Thank you for pressing play. Got an idea for you. If you're an author, great. If you know an author, even better. This is an episode for you to consider and share this with somebody that you think this could really help. I have a podcast called Living the Next Chapter, and it's been around for 4 years now. And in that time period, I have about 780-ish episodes at this point, 3 a week, going out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then every November, a part of the National Podcast Post Month, NaPodPoMo, where we do 30 episodes in 30 days. This will be my 4th year in 2026 of participating in that. I have a lot of authors on the podcast. And on November 15th of 2026, I will hit 800 episodes for that show. In talking to authors, I'm surprised and disappointed for them in one sense, that they're not leveraging the full extent of what they've created in this world. So here's what I mean. Authors write a book. They produce the book. They sell the book. They promote the book. They go on podcasts and talk about the book. They get signings where they sign the book. They might even adventure out and do an audio version of the book, which I love, by the way. I love audiobooks. I have no outstanding credits on my Audible, put it that way. I use them up in seconds. I love audiobooks. There's one other piece that authors aren't doing that I'm curious as to why they're not. And whenever I mention this to an author, I get this stare through the screen on Zoom at me, like I've just invented the light bulb. And I haven't. I don't believe I have. But to the authors I speak to, they've never considered this before. So I'm putting it out in a podcast, and I'm sharing it with you, and hopefully you'll share it with your favorite author. And if you are an author, or you're going to be an author, you consider this for yourself. Because there's something you're leaving an opportunity on the table that you might be completely oblivious to. And we're going to fix that right now. So back in the day, there was a thing called a director's cut, an editor's cut. It was like a commentary that went along with the movie that you were watching, for example. And it was the editor basically talking over the movie. In the scene, the person behind the bush there on the right, that person was not in the movie at all. They were just a bystander walking by. And they ended up in the film, and they ended up being one of the main characters over time. That kind of stuff doesn't actually make it anywhere into the story, and you would have no idea about how the thing was made, right? So think of how it was made, but for an author. A companion to the book. Does not replace the audiobook. It's in addition to the audiobook. The audiobook is a word-for-word retelling, re-speaking of the book in audio format. Great. A companion podcast is something that I think authors could really leverage. There's a few things you can do here. First of all, think of the things that didn't make it into the book. The depth of the character, the language you created for the world that you built, and all of the things about the language. The supplemental characters, the history of the characters, all of the behind the scenes that never made it into the book. What if your audience had access to that? Would that not make the book a deeper connection or a better read for your audience had they had access to that information? And without a separate standalone podcast that goes along with the book and the audiobook, they'll never hear that stuff. They'll never know it. And what I think is it when you write a book and you put it out there and you get great reviews and create a fandom around what you built, there's an opportunity for your fans to want more from you. And there's an opportunity here to make money from that fandom. There is a way for you as a creator, as an author, to take that fandom and leverage that. You sell a book once. You sell an audiobook once. What's stopping you from having a companion podcast that people pay to have access to? And it's a private feed. It's not public. It's not available on all of the platforms for free, but it's hidden behind a paywall. And let's just use easy numbers, $50 to get access to a 4-episode podcast about my new book. 4 episodes. I'm not asking you, as an author, to create a podcast that goes on for 10, 15 years. You have other things to do than create a podcast and maintain a new thing on top of writing. You need to write your next book. But if just like a book has a beginning, middle, and end, you can have a podcast that has a beginning, middle, and end, where you record it once, you release it to the world in a private feed, meaning only the people who have access to this feed, that you give them a link to it, or they pay for a link to it, have access to it. You create it once, you put it out there, and it sells itself. And then in there, you give such valuable content that makes people want to go back to the book and read it again. Think about this. Holiday season, birthdays, Father's Day, Mother's Day, whatever, fill in the day. Somebody gives your book to somebody as a gift. And not only do they give the book to them, a paper copy, they give them a link to the audio version on Audible, or wherever your audiobook is, and they give them a link on their phone to the private podcast. 3 touch points for one piece of work. That's amazing. And the fact that you can sell this in addition to the book. It's not about the book carrying the full weight of the cost to produce the book and merchandise the book and sell the book and promote the book and ship the book. You also have this other thing, this private podcast feed that just sits in the background quietly. It's on your website. It's available through your Substack or however you communicate with your audience, that I have access to this private podcast where I, as a reader, without you being a guest on somebody's podcast, have direct access to you as the author, and you tell me the things that never made it in the book. That would be amazing to have access to that. That's just such a great thing. And the fact that you only have to do it once. Like I said, this is not an ongoing commitment to podcasts for the rest of your life. This is a short run podcast on purpose that has a limited number of episodes. You set the limit. You could even do an episode for every chapter. You have 10 chapters in your book, 10 episodes. Done. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you just put it out there for the world. I think authors could really benefit from this because it's an additional revenue stream on content that's already been created, on a world that you've already created, on a fandom that already loves what you do. You have a built-in audience to sell this to. And this private podcast feed only makes sense when you buy the book. It all works together for your good as a creator. And I think you deserve more money than the $1 or $2 you're going to make off every book sale from a big company like Amazon. You deserve to make more. You deserve to own all of the money that comes in from this. So please consider this for your next book or all of your past books. There's no stopping here. So this could be for your next book you're working on right now. This could be on the one you just released or the 10 you did years ago. There's no limits here. You can do whatever you want. I just love the idea of this sitting on your website where people can then just click through here and go, what is this? And it's like $50 for a private podcast about the book that I love. My gosh, yeah, I'd buy that. I would. I'd click purchase on that, and all of that money goes directly to you. There's nobody in between you and your audience then. That's all your money. Think about that for a second. You don't have to fight for anybody. You have the rights to your book. You have the rights to be able to do this. And again, remember, this is outside of the actual book. So you're not actually selling the book through audio on your own, competing against Audible for the audio version. You're doing a companion podcast. I want you to think about this. I really think this could really help you to make more money from your content, build a stronger relationship with your audience over time, and leverage the amazing content that's already yours. Think about that. So just think of this from this context then. A director's cut podcast for your book. Okay? Think of it as less as extra content and more of a narrative explanation of what's going on in the book. A look behind the scenes. The book is the finished product, and the private podcast is the why, the how, and the what you didn't see in the book. It could give your readers access to the author's thinking process while writing key scenes and chapters. It could be alternative ideas, deleted sections, early draft writings, where you read where you were going with it and why you stopped and why you changed directions, emotional context behind the decisions you made, why a character changed or why a chapter was cut, real world parallels or inspirations that didn't make it into the final edit, maybe a song that you heard on the radio that day shaped a character. Maybe you got cut off in traffic and that ended up in your story. Maybe something dramatic happened in your family and that changed the course of your book. Maybe you walked away from your book for 10 years between chapter 3 and chapter 4. Maybe people have no idea. For nonfiction, it becomes even more powerful, I think. You could have expanded frameworks or deeper dives on concepts. You could update insights after publication. It's not a sealed document like a book that can't be edited once it's produced. This could be changed and altered and updated anytime you want. As a podcast, you could have case studies that were too long or too narrow for the book that you really loved, but it just never made it into the actual production of the book. So this is why I think this actually works for you as an author, why this would be a good idea. Books are static, okay? Audio is dynamic and personal. Books are printed and they sit on the shelf behind you after they've been read. This just gives more life to that printed copy of the book beyond the actual initial read. I think a private podcast turns a one-time purchase of a book into an ongoing relationship between the reader and the author. It extends the life cycle of a book launch. It creates a recurring touch point with the audience. It builds a deeper connection through your voice and your own tone and storytelling that the person's not always going to get from reading a paper copy. You're essentially shifting your reader from just being a reader of your book to being an insider and a behind-the-scenes person, behind the scenes of their favorite author. Again, we talked about it already, but there's that monetization piece of this too. That I think that's a real advantage for you as a creative person to leverage this for your sake. This is kind of where I think this idea that I have really stands out. Instead of relying on your book royalties with really low margins and the audiobook splits, which are platform dependent, you create a direct-to-audience revenue stream, full control over your own pricing, one-time or subscription, no algorithm to push this out to the world because people are buying it directly from you. You could have some structure examples for pricing, could be anything from like $9 to $29 for one time to unlock the director's cut author podcast for my book title, blah, blah, blah. Or you can bundle it by the book, get discounted access to the private feed. You could have a premium tier, which includes Q&A episodes, listener submitted questions that you answer in the podcast. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of opportunity here for you without the long-term commitment of being a podcaster. Leverage what podcasting does well. It connects with people. I'm connecting with you right now. It connects with people in a way that nothing else does and gives you the opportunity to have nobody to report to. This is all for you and all to your benefit. So some structure ideas around how you do the content for this, I think might help as well. To make it feel intentional and not just like an extra, there's some structure to this that I think could really help, would really matter to what you build as well. So like episode 1 could be like you talking about the origin story of the book. Okay, you've probably done this on a podcast as a guest. It's time for you to capture that for yourself. And instead of relying on a podcaster to ask you that question, you just answer that yourself. You could do per chapter episodes with insights and decisions and hidden layers and bonus material that didn't make it into the book. You could have deleted scenes or unused ideas, maybe a character that didn't make it into the book. Behind the scenes of publishing, cover design, editing battles, rejections. You could have reader Q&A episodes. This is where community is built because the audience is now having conversations with you. All of this is your content, and you own all of this as the author. I really think you should think about this. There's a strategic advantages to this idea specific for you as an author. This model does something most authors struggle with. It keeps the conversation going after the book is finished and after the book is read. Instead of launch, spike, drop off, you get launch, engagement, ongoing monetization, and community. All of that leads to the next book, if that's in the cards for you down the road. You now have taken a reader from a passive reader into an active community member by doing this step. Let's do another example. A nonfiction book on mindset. The private podcast that we're talking about could include Chapter 3, Unpacked. What I wish I could have added to this chapter. Or a story I cut out because it was too personal, but really matters now, and I want to tell this story. Or listener questions about applying Chapter 5 in real life and some actual updated examples of what people have done since reading the book. You're not going to get that in the paper copy, and you're not going to get that in the audiobook because they're just reading the words from the paperback. This is a companion to a director's cut, and you have the freedom to do whatever you want and get all the return. That turns a $20 book into a $20 book plus a $15 experience and a long-term audience relationship. It's there for you. Where could all this take you then? If you decided to go down this path and you're like, Dave, I want to do this. This idea could easily become the framework for all that you do in the future, where you write a book with the idea that I'm going to do this along the way. And think of the content that you can create during the writing process of the next book, which will make this even better of an engaged opportunity for your audience to be a part of it because you've actually been intentional. That I'm going to also think about how I'm going to market this from the beginning of the book, not after the book has been written. It's part of your plans. This would be an amazing thing for you to do. And as an editor, talking as an editor here, we could do some really interesting things. We could add in so it's not just a voice talking. We could add in some sounds like, someone's walking across the wooden floor and the door opens and they go inside and shut the door. We can have all of those sounds happen in the background to accentuate what you're saying and make it immersive for your audience. There's a lot of things we can do here. The creative juices just start to flow once you start thinking about this. So I want to put this out there for you. Yes, I'm an editor. And yes, I love doing projects like this. And yes, I want to do this for you. I want to be your editor and help you. But I want to put this out in front of you because I think it's something valuable that you could really lean into. And it could really benefit you and encourage you to keep writing as an author. Or as a creative person, as a musician, you could apply this to anything. But specific to the authors, because that's kind of our focus in this episode, this could really benefit you. And as you listen to this, you're like, I've never thought of this before. Then let's have a conversation because we can work on this together and come up with a plan that works for you. And I'm happy to be a part of that and support you in creating this and helping you get it out into the world. This is something I'd love to offer as a service to you, especially if you listen to the show. So reach out to me, howtopodcast.ca, and let's have a conversation and see what this looks like. And just kind of dream out loud together about how this could help you as an author. I think there's something here. I really do. And before someone else takes this idea and claims it on their show, on their podcast about podcasting, just remember you heard it here first with Dave. And I'd love to work with you. So please reach out to me, howtopodcast.ca. Let's take your ideas to the next level and reach a grander audience, because you deserve to be paid. You deserve to be paid. Thanks for being here. I hope to talk to you very soon. Hey, it's Dave. Thank you for sticking around to the end. This is where we do our call to action, or pathway to engagement, as I like to call it. And here's what's interesting. I've been doing this podcast for years now, hosting meetups, helping podcasters, editing for people, doing a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. And when we have people who follow the show reach out to me and say, Dave, guess what? I'm like, what? They said, I just hired my first consultant. I'm going to go work with them and help me with my podcast. And I kind of go, wait a minute. You what? They're like, yeah, I found a podcast consultant and they're going to help me with my show. It's hard to pretend to be happy. Why? Because I want to work with you. Wait a minute. Dave, the guy, Dave, who's been doing the How to Podcast series and 8 other podcasts, and the guy that's been with you the whole time, and we've done meetups, we've done time together, we've spent time together, and you've hired somebody else. Now, maybe I'm not your person. That's okay. I'm totally fine with that, by the way. Keep coming back. I love having you here. But if you're like, well, I didn't hire you because you don't have anything like that, do you? And I do. And I have been for a long time. And I don't talk about it enough, apparently, because people are going to other people looking for things that Dave does. So, in the spirit of Dave, and in the spirit of making better connections with you, I do have personal coaching in podcasting. I have podcast community. I have all of the resources. I have all of the background, the history in podcasting, and the love for you as a fellow podcaster. If you're looking for a podcast coach, somebody who can walk with you, somebody who cares about you, someone who is your challenger, your cheerleader, and your coach. Because even though I've said on the show you can't be all three, I think I am. And I want to help you. So, howtopodcast.ca. Please, before you go searching anywhere else, come to where we started and where we met first, right here. I'd love to help you. howtopodcast.ca. Come reach out to me. I want to talk to you. Thanks. You're still here. Amazing. Okay. Question came in. This is a bonus for you because sticking around. My question for me, I was working with a podcaster and they want to edit their own show. Great. I love it because you're going to learn so much about yourself and how you talk and all your little hang-up words and the things you do. It's going to make you a better speaker if you edit your own podcast. But some people don't have the skill set to do this. I get it. Then reach out to me because I do editing for people. I love it. This is the question though. Dave, how long does it take to edit an episode? Well, this is relative to how long the episode is. Is it multiple voices? Is it in the format of the show? Is it an interview podcast? There's a lot of things here. But let's just use some simple things. Let's say it's a 30-minute recording from beginning, middle, end. 30 minutes of talk time. So for that, could take, depending on how many edits or fixes or corrections or sound things we have to do behind the scenes to make you sound clearer. If it needs just a light touch, a 30-minute recording could take an hour of editing time, roughly. For a newer editor, it might take you longer because you're learning the tools at the same time. For me, I've been using Audacity for well over 20 years. So it doesn't take me long to do things because I know lots of tricks and click here, click this, do that. And I make people dizzy when they watch. They're like, what are you doing? Slow down. It's built into my DNA at this point. So I can whip through an episode pretty quick. My suggestion for people that are starting out, and I still do this to this day, I did it in this episode, is I record in chunks. I don't record one solid take from beginning to end. That's too much pressure. It's too much pressure to be perfect. And if 3/4 of the way through I screw up, then am I just deleting all the good stuff ahead of that? No. So I record in chunks. So if I have 4 main points, I record the intro, I hit stop. I read ahead in my notes and go, okay, yeah, I'm going to go here, then I'm going to do this and go to that. I hit record. I record point number 1. I lead into point 2 and I hit stop. I read point 2 on my notes. I hit record. I do point 2. I lead into point 3. I hit stop. And I have these big chunks of podcasts with spaces in between. And that's where I put my little swipes that you hear, all that stuff. It's me breaking it into pieces. And then I just put them all together like a puzzle. And then I'm done. And I don't have to be perfect. Because if I want to just change one chunk, because I messed up in one spot, I only have to re-record that one chunk, not the whole thing. So for me, that's how I do it. And that speeds up my editing time. Because not only am I editing after I'm done, but I'm editing during the process because I'm recording in smaller pieces, little bite-sized chunks, instead of the whole thing. So that'll save you some time too. If you want to watch editing happen, I do this on our meetups once in a while where I'll do a live record of my podcast in front of people, which is intimidating. And I actually do it in front of you. I post it live, do the whole thing, and you get to see the whole thing from beginning, middle, and end. And then it'll show up on your phone while we're still in the meetup. That's how I do it. And I'll do those from time to time on our meetup. So if you're looking for inspiration about editing, please speak to an editor like me. I'd love to help you. And I'd love to be on your team, helping support you in your podcast. I do have a couple limited spots open for free editing right now where I'm willing to do this for a period of time to support you while you get your feet underneath you. If you're an emergency spot and you need somebody to help because your editor is completely AWOL and you don't know where they are, reach out to me. I'm always willing to do these one-offs here and there to help, to be part of the solution. And I'm looking for a long-term commitment with the podcaster, not these short things too, where people kind of come and then they just stop podcasting or they hire somebody else, after like working with me for years and then they just decide to pay somebody and it's not me. Yeah, that's not what I want. I would love to turn these editing things into paid work that would help me personally to be available and help out my family income. That would be part of it. But what I'm talking about today is free. So please reach out to me. Let me know. I'd love to help you. And if I can be of service to you, then that's my joy in life. Thanks for being here. Talk soon.